Hello and welcome everyone to Galactic Gumbo episode 29. We are going to be talking all things geeky and toys and action figure and pop culture related today. So we are back after a 2-month hiatus. We are back with myself, Dakota, Dalton, Mike, and Rick. Barrett, he is missing from us again. So let's go ahead and kick it off with some introductions. Dakota, where can people find you, man?
You can find me everywhere at PrimalSabbath.
All right, D.
I'm everywhere. You can find me at Dalton and STFs.
All right, Mike.
You can find me pretty much everywhere as Just Another G.I. Joe show.
All right, my boy took Brandon 101, and he was like,
I'm telling you.
I know. I was like, dude, he used to have like 3 or 4 different places, and then like this other word was misspelt or something.
He used to be Autobot City Toys with a Z. He used to be BotCon Fan 1978.
I know. My boy, he took one class of branding 101. He was like, got it. All right, Rick, where can people find you, man?
I am exclusively on Twitter at Shatrdglassjazz.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram at G1Xtron, or Facebook pages the G1Xtron. So let's go ahead, and even though it's been 2 months, we're just going to do kind of the past couple weeks of hauls. So instead of 2 months worth of hauls, we're going to do 2 weeks worth of hauls. So what we got in lately. So who wants to kick us off? I can kick us off.
I will. Mine was small. Like, you guys are probably going to have a bunch of stuff. I got the Marvel 3 3/4 inch, the all new, all different Captain America, the Hail Hydra Captain America. I didn't know they put it out, and then I saw that Hasbro Toy Shop had it, so I got that. I got the 6-inch Legends Ares. I got the 3 3/4 inch Ares, and I got the Hulk and Thor 2-pack from Ragnarok, and that's it.
I got some stuff for you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I had some stuff on pre-order at Mike's house.
Sportimus, I'm trying to find you in my messages to send you a link.
What he's saying is slide into them DMs.
Yeah. I guess what's the name under? Yeah, like what's your first name though? Is it in my G1Xtron Facebook page messages, or I forget. So anyways, someone go with the next one, and Sportimus, you can let me know in the chat.
I guess I'll go real quick. I got Mastermind Creations Tarn, Mastermind Creations Rodimus, thank you, Dakota, and also for the Generations Straxus.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I sent you that.
Yeah, I am excited with Rodimus. I really like that figure.
It's a good toy. Hot Flame is better, but
yeah,
Calidus is definitely the better toy.
All right, somebody else go. I'm gonna send you a message, Sportimus.
I'm trying to figure out what all I got. I know I got the Takara Legends Hot Rod in the cup. And then a buddy of mine picked up G.I. Joe Battle Force 2000 original vector jet for me and sent it to me. And then I got some unmentionables that I can't mention. So
Unmentionables.
Unmentionables. Same unmentionables as you have.
Is it which unmentionable?
from the guy we can't talk about.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you picked up any more or if it was just the...
No, it's just the one.
I got you.
The one thing from the one person about the one thing.
Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about.
All will be revealed in time.
And I actually have a whole box of rocks that I'm throwing from my Crystal Palace over to Rick.
You did. I heard you. I heard you loud and clear.
I told Fred about that. I was like, that's a good one. I said, he's going to get me for that one. It was so funny. Because he was like, this picture. And I was like, well, he is.
I'll wait till I'm back. I'll wait till I'm back on your show.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, well, he is supporting that iPhone 4. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, he's got iPhone 4.
Yep.
Then he says, well, tell him to hit me up on Facebook. Well, guess what? He don't do Facebook either.
Nope. Exclusively on Twitter. Only do Twitter.
I remember watching that, man. I was cooking burgers, and as soon as Fred said hit me up on Facebook, I was like, nope, wrong again.
Nope. I'm only a little bit social, my friends. All right,
you can find him on Tinder.
No, you won't find me on Tinder.
You can find him on Tinder at the Deke Show.
You know, Deke was big in the 80s.
Oh shit!
All right, let's talk about hauls. Back to the professionalism. All right, so last 2 weeks I got me some Hot Toys Hulkbuster, and I got to say I've been waiting. I think they pushed this back a year and 5 months, so it's actually been since Age of Ultron when I pre-ordered this. Feels like 3 years. Anyway, it's amazing, and it'll be a top figure on the figure of the year list for me. I got Hot Toys Daredevil, the Netflix stuff. I got Hot Toys K2SO. I got the second half of Vans Toys Terminus Gigantus. I got DC Rebirth Batman, the Icon figure. I got Black Series Snoke from GameStop. Got the Marvel Legends Ares as well. And then, I've been getting Vintage Joes I try to do a few every 2 weeks. So I got the version ones of Copperhead, Crazy Legs, Naugahyde, and Dusty.
Crazy Legs.
Oh, Crazy Legs.
All right. As far as hauls for me, I got the Trypticon. I got as far as Star Wars Black Series goes, I got the Walgreens exclusive Obi-Wan. I got the HasCon exclusive Rex. I got the Toys R Us 2-pack with General Akbar or Admiral Akbar. Then I've got the GameStop exclusive 2 of the 4-packs of the guards. And then I've got finally off of my layaway, got the Luke Speeder, and I got the Ray Speeder. Ended up getting GameStop exclusive Infernal Squad, Kylo Ren, Luke Skywalker, Ray, and I got the Snoke set today. And then I got the Poe Dameron, Leia, 2 of the Elite Praetorian Guards, and then the Michelangelo NECA quarter scale, and then the DC Bombshells, Batgirl, Hawk Girl, Mira, and Katana. So,
damn,
I
got some more stuff that'll be here Monday too. So it's been.
Josh fun. Got that. This P grabs back. All.
All right. So, what message sent in Facebook? What?
Facebook.
Okay.
My Tinder profile is Crazy Legs, Rick.
Yeah.
Is it the one that says hi G1? Wish you would have put your name in there.
Oh okay, man, yeah, it could be like that one time we got that weird Hulk guy that was on here. That was we could go with that.
Oh, okay.
Pushing his agenda.
Yeah.
You gotta give him a red mask and the knives.
Okay, so I just sent it to you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our Mount Rushmore. And you said let's do a Mount Rushmore of Christmas figures or toys that we got as a kid. So I can see a huge generational swing when it goes from Mike, Rick, and myself to we're all talking about like, oh yeah, like 10 toys, and then like Dalton Teletubbies, just a huge swing. All right, but Rick, you came up with a topic. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about your tin and wood toys?
His Lincoln Logs.
So Mike came up with the topic, but I was totally down with it. Yeah, we'll give credit to Mike on this one. He does have good ideas, folks. So there you go. Let's see. I got Stone Tablet, Flame, Square Wheel, and Tin Toy. No, so
he's talking about. I got the wheel as a child.
He just names a bunch of train sets.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
So this one's kind of hard. I've got some alternatives that I'll have to do after I do my 4. In no real order, I've got the G1 Optimus Prime. I guess if I had to pick one, he would probably be the top one. I remember messing with that pretty much like all morning, and people were like, "Come eat breakfast." I don't want breakfast. And for like a big boy, if you say you don't want breakfast, that's a statement.
That's something. Yeah, they start running tests on you then.
Yeah. So I remember playing with Optimus Prime for hours and hours. The second one, I think I got this when I was pretty little, probably like 7. Was and I've mentioned it on here before, that haunted house that the Weeble Wobbles came in. Yeah. I kept that until I was like 14, I think, like in my room. I still had it, so I played with that a whole lot. And then I don't know, does games count as toys, like for Christmas?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, they do?
All right.
They do. They're toys.
So I remember when Mike Tyson's Punch-Out came out, you couldn't find it anywhere here. And somehow my parents ended up going, a few hours north and found one. And so when I ended up with that under the Christmas tree, I was like super psyched because I was all into the NES. So Mike Tyson's Punch-Out has to be on the list. And then the last thing would be the G.I. Joe Sky Striker. And it wasn't the first vehicle I got because I had the Vamp and the Ram cycle, but the fact that it came with like the parachutes and stuff. I remember that Christmas, we used to have a lot of snow on Christmas in Virginia. We don't usually anymore, but when I was a kid, we did. And I remember there was no snow out, so I went out with that and threw the parachutes out for a few hours. And so those would be my top 4.
All right, Mike, since you're the one that came up with the Mount Rushmore, you go next.
As a kid, I can remember. I remember one Christmas coming out, and I had all 5 of the Dinobots. So I'm counting that as one. Y'all can kiss my ass if you don't agree on that one, but I consider that as one because that was, that was pretty cool. You're seeing the Dinobots in the store as a kid, but your mom won't buy them for you. And then Christmas morning, they're all there. So I thought that was like one of the coolest things as a kid, was getting all 5 of those. One of the next best things was, I guess it was 84, 85 when the Nintendo came out. I got the Nintendo console when it first came out for Christmas. And then this one you might find a little bit weird, but it was Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, I know that.
I remember Teddy Ruxpin.
I love Teddy Ruxpin. I thought that was like so awesome. I remember carrying that thing around me all the time. And the reason I bring that up is because I recently saw in an ad where Teddy Ruxpin, they brought it back.
Yeah, I saw him at Target today.
It's like
you could knock somebody out, so another child out with that thing if you like took it by the head and just hit them, and
Right. I mean, it's like. I don't remember what it cost back then, but it's going to be in the Black Friday sale for $90. That just tells you that damn thing's probably at least $100 retail right now. I'm like, that's just insane. Of course, we're talking at least 30 plus years since the original one came out. So, and then the last one I remember as a kid, and I remember playing the fire out of these, and this is kind of like Rick's wheel, but mine was Lincoln Logs.
Oh, yeah.
I had some of those as a kid.
Lincoln Logs, man. I mean, that was just, some of the things, I could go all day long and talk about the stuff I had as a kid.
Yeah, I'm surprised neither one of y'all two said like the little plastic cowboys and Indians,
Oh, that was like an every other week thing since we lost them all in the backyard.
Oh yeah, man, I had all this, dude. I love.
Oh yeah, oh god, yeah, I had those. I still have a box of. I got my Toy Story ones. So that's my 4.
All right. As far as me, I had this was all in like one Christmas, or at least three. I forget when Super NES was released. When was that released? Say.
I was still in grade school. 88, 89.
Okay, 80. So Super NES, because we had an NES as well, but I just remember that excitement of Super NES, and because we got Turtles in Time with it, and like some Mario, so we had some games with it that were really fun to play as soon as we got it. So that, and then these three items were all 1986 Christmas. I got Six Shot, box set of the Technobots Computron, and then I got actually 2 Millennium Falcons. So, but that was a Star Wars Christmas. My parents went to a yard sale, and just like these people were selling like all this Star Wars collection for like dirt cheap. So I got like 3 snow speeders, AT-AT Walker, the Ewoks little play set, Yeah, I got 2 Millennium Falcons, like 2 or 3 X-Wings, some A-Wings, dude, Y-Wings. Dude, it was awesome. All these figures. But the Millennium Falcon I remember playing with, kind of the most.
It was 1990. I just looked it up.
Okay. Yeah, so I was a little bit older when this Super NES, but yeah, that 1986 Christmas. Yeah, I just remember my parents telling me, "You never have another Christmas like this. Don't think that they're gonna like we didn't hit the lottery." So, what about you, Lodi?
Boy. All right. So one would have to be the HO scale starter set that I got, Union Pacific, just train set. I remember setting that up and just having a blast with it, and then we got more added onto it. But another one would be Armada Optimus Prime with the trailer. I mean, that was when I was like, I think like 5, 6 years old, somewhere in there. Yeah, I think I was like 6.
Making me feel old.
Did you wear a conductor's hat when you played with your train set?
No.
You didn't? Okay, so you didn't get all into it.
No.
Did you want to wear a conductor's hat when you played?
No.
I remember someplace you ride a train, they would have a gift shop. You could buy a conductor's hat, and they also had like wooden whistles that you could blow into to sound like a train.
What's funny is my grandpa used to always take me to the Great Train Expo in Denver every year, and they had like everything for model trains.
All right, so you got, what was that? 2?
That's 2.
All right.
I got the 25th anniversary Optimus Prime set. What was funny about that was they had me open one box, and it was just the truck, or no, I think it was just the trailer. They said, "This is all you're getting." About 20 minutes later, after everyone opens theirs, they bring out the rest of it. I was just...
What I'm laughing at is the fact that you're telling us that your childhood Christmas present was the 25th anniversary of something that we got when we were kids. Because Rick just listed you one Optimus, and then over here like 25th anniversary.
I mean,
Rick, what's it like feeling old, man?
I know, man. He definitely made me feel old. When he said Armada, I'm like, wait a minute, was I in college? I was in college, or no, I was out of college.
I was like, oh man, I think I was like my last year of middle school.
Here's another one. Last one, I got the Universe landfill set, which was from RAD. So you had Wedge, Heavy Load, Hightower, and Grimlock. They were the all orange set.
I don't know what that is.
I know what he's talking about.
I know
It's Bruticus. It's Bruticus and the team.
Devastator. Landfill.
Landfill.
Yeah,
The build team.
Oh, yeah, dumpster fire.
Oh, Matt's over here. He says I was born in '96, so you're all old. Oh,
I'm just a year older than you, dude. Jeez.
oh yeah. So yeah, Dalton's right there with you, Matt. All right, Dakota, why don't you go real quick?
Let's see. Just notable ones. There was one Christmas that's really badass. I ended up getting the Beast Wars Tiger Hawk and the Transmetal 2 Dragon Megatron. And I think I got a PlayStation 2 that same year as well. But I remember being pretty excited about the PlayStation 2 because it came with Grand Theft Auto. And
That's
my
a
mom,
great game. Right
my mom,
Oh,
my
yeah.
mom didn't know. It was Grand Theft Auto 3, which was my favorite. It wasn't Vice City, so it hadn't quite gotten too raunchy yet. But I just remember putting the disc in, going through the opening, and picking up hookers and beating them up for my money back. Because I was like, why is my money going missing? But that was one year. Then there was another Christmas year. I ended up getting the RID Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus. So I was able to do, the Omega Prime thing. Oh man, I had a blast with those. So
All right, that was your 4, right? Okay. We welcome Sportimus Prime. So you want to tell people real quick where they can find you, and then also give us your Mount Rushmore of your top 4 Christmas gifts as a child. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
This is
How about
fine.
now?
There you go.
Yep, you're good.
there we go.
Awesome. Sorry about that. So you can pretty much find me anywhere. I'm on Twitter as Sportimus Prime. I'm on Facebook, as well as, of course, YouTube under Sportimus. So you can definitely find me there. And I'll start making videos once again once I get my mess organized. So that's about it there. As for the Mount Rushmore, these are what, your top 4?
Yeah, your top 4. I guess Christmas toys. Growing up that you got as a kid.
Well, I got an interesting one for you. There was one Christmas where, of course, I'm a G1 guy, so that was my era. So as a kid in, I believe, '84, my mom got me the G1 Optimus Prime. And when I unwrapped it, we all discovered that it was just the box. There was nothing in it. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Oh wow.
Back in those days, you had department stores that sold Transformers, and I think it was the Emporium that don't exist anymore, but they had gift wrap there. So apparently, whoever gift wrapped the toy decided to remove the contents and just wrap an empty box, and threw in a couple of stuff to weigh it down a little bit. There were just broken things inside. So the following year,
Wow.
yeah,
That's a shitty Christmas.
yeah, that was,
Talk about how the Grinch became the Grinch. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that was it. And the following year, though, she got me and made sure that Optimus Prime was in there. So that Christmas made up for it the following year. And then I got G1 Jetfire and Sideswipe and a bunch of other ones. I got 4 or 5 Transformers that year to make up for it.
nice.
So that was probably the best Christmas when it came to Transformers. Another Christmas was remember when the Ninja Turtles were first out in the late '80s?
Yeah.
There was no eBay back then. There was nothing like that. So you couldn't find them unless they're, if they were sold out in stores, you were done. And they were flying off the shelves. And I pretty much wrote it off. My parents asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I told them, well, Ninja Turtles are cool, but they're gone. And I wasn't expecting it. And so come Christmas morning, it's like time to, unwrap gifts, and you can tell when you're going to get a sweater. You know what I'm saying? That box, I got clothes this year. And so when I unwrapped one of them, sure enough, it was a sweater. But in between was a Leonardo.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And so that was a cool thing. And then, I opened up another one, and then in that was Raphael, and another one. So I pretty much caught on what they were onto, what they were doing. So I pretty much got all 4 turtles.
That's smart.
Nice.
I'm gonna use that this year. I like that.
Yeah, they were like in a pair of slacks in between, folded in nicely, so that when you pull them out, when you open it up, you don't see it until you pull it out, and it falls out of there. And so that was a fun Christmas for me. So those are the top 2 that I can think of offhand. Another Christmas was I had been really sick that year, and this was before Transformers. This was Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
And my father was old school. He didn't like action figures. They were dolls to him. So his son ain't gonna play with no dolls. But I liked He-Man and Masters of the Universe back then. And he wouldn't have it, but I guess down the road he did his own little exploring, and turns out that he really liked it. And so that Christmas I got Castle Grayskull, Attack Track, and a whole bunch of action figures from him. So he really did a 180 and really got into it himself. That's number 3. And number 4 wasn't quite as good. But it was still a good year. That's when I got. Oh God, what did I get? Sorry, I have to look back and think. It's something that you guys might not be interested in, but it was basically back then there was classic Lego, like the medieval knights thing. So
Yeah.
I got that King's Castle way back then, and that was like one of the best sets out there at the time. Those would be my top 4.
All right. One other thing here. What's up, Maddie? He says you used to be able to test out toys back in the department stores, like open packages and stuff like that. Sometimes they would just have open packages, sitting out there around Christmas time, which was pretty cool. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the first topic. So I see that you have some Power Rangers back there, so you collect those, and I'm kind of looking, and I see was a Red Ranger, a Yellow Ranger, and a white one. I'm sure you got more and stuff like that. So basically wanted to bring this one up because while I was looking for things to put together for Cybercast, I kind of scrolled through and I saw this article on Taku Nation or whatever, however you pronounce it, and they were talking about over the past few years, or last few years ago, the whole idea of boys' toys and girls' toys has been kind of a topic of conversation, to where they're like now, like stores like Target, where in their clothing they don't call it boys' clothes or girls' clothes, they just call it children's clothes. And apparently a few years ago, Bandai America, they were deciding that, like they're going to have a decrease in number of girl action figures in their Power Ranger line. And apparently like this made a lot of people upset, where they ended up getting like some type of petition with 50,000 Facebook, likes or signatures or whatever you want to do it, to where quickly Bandai America, they came out and said, actually, we are going to be doing the female Rangers, and Power Keys, I believe, was something at the time as well. But now you look at kind of today, and it looks like their original business model of, hey, these are mostly catered towards, male collectors and, or boys, instead of a female or girl collectors. Not saying, there aren't, a bunch of female collectors. I know there's a lot of them that even watch this show and stuff, but I'm saying the majority were males. So they have looked and seen that the Yellow Ranger, Pink Ranger, there's another blue one from some series or whatever, I don't know what all the series are called, that they're just sitting on pegs. They're not selling very well. And that even Big Bad Toy Store, if you look online, like one of their waves, that they don't even didn't even order the female Rangers, that they doubled up on the male Rangers, because that's what's actually selling. And the female Rangers, they ended up they're sitting there. So I guess to that kind of just give a little backstory, why we're talking about this is one, it's not opinion based, it's fact. I went to the the different stores like Toys R Us, Walmart, and Target, and the only Rangers that I really see are the female Rangers, and so, which made me think that it's not necessarily that all boys toy lines are majority boys and we just don't like to buy female figures. I think it goes to maybe there's just Power Rangers, like it's mostly catered to guys, to where Star Wars, it's mostly catered to guys, but like there's a lot of girl collectors in there as well. Transformers I think it's kind of a franchise by franchise basis, and it's not just spread the net that guys don't buy female characters. So I just kind of wanted to use that to kind of open up the doors, and you guys can kind of take the discussion however you want. Whoever wants to start off first.
I'll kick this one off because I do collect Power Rangers as well. And in my area, the female Rangers do set up a lot, but I think it is a brand by brand. And we talked about it where, from what I understood, Bandai has stated that after Zeo, they weren't going to do any more female Rangers, is my understanding. Whether that's 100% fact or not, I don't know. But when you look at G.I. Joe, people want the G.I. Joe female figures. Like Star Wars, that you all collect all of the Star Wars figures, including the female ones. What was the other brand I was thinking? We were talking about Transformers. Has become a big, hot commodity. It's given us the updated versions of female characters that we never got back in the heyday, such as a RC or a Headmaster RC to boot. Getting that now has changed a lot. But I think, take like wrestling figures. I know none of us, I don't collect wrestling figures, but knowing that my daughter is kind of into the female wrestlers because of the new thing they started doing. Like, they're not the actual wrestling figures of the men's, but they're kind of like the female version for girl toys. It's like they have like Barbie figures, and then they have
I've seen those.
The new action figures. Now they have play sets and accessories. So the female market's out there, for females, or, for a guy who collects female toys, but I think Power Rangers is just, like I said, it's a brand thing. I think Power Rangers is the one that's taking the brunt of it, because I think the whole thing of everyone having something is true, because, we have the pink, the yellow, the blue that you were talking about, which was a Ninja Storm, which was the female one on that one. So there is a lot of female ones left over, even in the movie line stuff. A lot of the female action figures are left up there. But again, I think it's a brand by brand.
I was gonna say I agree with Mike with your kind of sentiment on it. With Power Rangers is a I'm gonna say it's not very story driven. At least to me, it never seemed very story driven, very fiction driven. Where you've got other brands like Marvel and DC and Transformers and so on that these female characters that coexist. Like, there's no issues, seeing both boys and girls wanting to go pick up these female or feminine characters. But at the same time, like, the kind of forcefulness of merging the boys and girls stuff, I think that's stupid too. Like, sometimes you need a little segregation when it comes to marketing. Not everything is unisex. Not everything should be unisex either. I think that's very important. But yeah, I think it's just a Power Rangers thing. It's typically stuff that doesn't have a big fiction standpoint, especially with kids, especially with nowadays kids with their iPads and their whatnot. They're just not into it. Like, I know I wouldn't have bought any female characters whenever I was growing up in the 90s if they weren't cool in the show. And fortunately, there was Black Arachnia. so I got to have that kind of victory, I guess, or whatever. But yeah.
What about the rest of you guys? Like, I've got more to add, but like I want to make sure all you guys go first.
I'm
mean,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm kind of surprised in a way because not that long ago I sold the Pink Ranger of these 3 3/4 inch on eBay for like over $50. I mean, I had a bidding war on her, and to see that they're not selling now is kind of a surprise. And it probably is the fact that maybe there's just not enough character development. I don't know, because we've got pretty good Marvel Legends female figures that are selling. You got Lady Thor, you got Lady Deadpool. That seems to be a popular trend now. The Lady Wolverine, or whatever you call her, I'm not sure. But, I see more female characters that seem to be popular in Marvel Legends, for example, or even Rey in Star Wars. But for whatever reason, Power Rangers is kind of suffering. So it might be brand related.
It might also be size. I mean, you're talking about a smaller one,
right?
We're talking about mostly the 6-inch
The
figures.
6-inch, yeah.
Right. So it might be a
They're more
size
catered to
comparison.
adult collectors.
Right. Just like, take Star Wars, for example. It's not like every single Star Wars figure flies off the shelf. There's a lot of shelf warmers out there. These just might be the shelf warmers of the Black Series of Power Rangers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Rick?
Well, I agree. I think it is. It should always be specific. Look at your brand and understand the audience. And I think so I agree with the brand thing. And as a kid, I didn't have a problem buying like whether it was Princess Leia or Luke. I guess Luke was a little more dynamic to me, but I still wanted the Leia. And I remember getting her pretty early on, like in the first 4 or 5 figures I had her. So there's an example. I don't know who did the complaining on the end of this story. Like, I guess I know, we live in a time where people's opinions are everywhere now. And you can be on multiple platforms and put your opinion out there. And you can definitely complain about no Rays or no female Rangers or no whatever it is. So, but sometimes, I think there's no practicing what you preach. So, who's dropping the money on the Power Ranger stuff? I would assume it was adult collectors for the most part. You guys talked about fiction and the things that are high in fiction and low in fiction. And, for me, Power Rangers is more about the karate chop than the fiction. So it just doesn't go that deep. And so, yeah, and, even with my kid too, like, he'll be 5 soon. And our approach is whatever, if he's into something, I don't say no to whatever it is. There's a show on now that's like these little monsters, like I think it's Vampirina, and it's like it's monsters, but they're like kids. It's but the main character is a girl character, and he watches that show all the time, and I've watched it. It's okay. So we, and I've bought him characters that are female. It's like Strong Arm and Transformers, and they're just characters to him. He doesn't really see a difference in the boy, girl, not yet. I have heard him say through, like, when he hangs out with some of the older kids, he'll talk about, that's a girl's toy if it's like a Barbie doll, or if it's like a Tonka truck, big truck, that's a boy's toy. I've heard him get that from outside, our house, those experiences.
That's kind of the way that was instilled, in the 70s.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Prior to that, it was like Tonka trunk was associated with boys, and Barbie doll was associated with, girls. That's why, like Sportibus said earlier, his father was just like G.I. Joe was always like, those are dolls, to where Hasbro had to coin the term action figure, so they could, get boys to buy them. Again, I want to let Dalton go too as well. But one thing I wanted to mention was you again, like you said, it's even in the packaging, the marketing. You have black boxes and stuff. That is not to say again, girls don't like the color black, but that is catered towards males, to where the color pink, you go and you're like, oh, toy all, there's a lot of pink on there. I know that's going to be, Polly Pocket and Easy Bake Oven and, and stuff, Barbie dolls and stuff.
Strawberry.
Even though I like the color pink, it's one of my favorite colors, or fuchsia. But I know that color is associated with marketing towards girls. So, I think it's pretty clear, like, they are catering whenever it's the Power Rangers. I think those packages are black. They're catering to mostly males. And, it's a brand by brand. I want to go more into it, but Dalton, what do you got, man?
Well, see, I think it's both a combination, like recently been saying, it's, I think, a combination of brand and the characters. Like, if you don't have a strong enough character for these collectors, they're not going to buy it. I mean, it's going to just come off as boring, and, recently shows for kids have kind of gotten bland. And, yeah, it's hard to say something that hasn't already been said, so.
My question is this. Okay, sorry. All right, so there were 50,000 signatures.
50,000 signatures. I guarantee those aren't buyers. That's somebody like that's looking at it and be like, oh, that's wrong.
That wants an agenda pushed. You know what I mean? Like,
if
I were a toy company and I saw something with 50,000 signatures on it, I would think, okay, that's at least 50,000 units. In the toy world, that's not a ton, but that's definitely enough to warrant a good run. You know what I mean? Even if it was just exclusive to one retailer or something like that, especially something like Power Rangers, where they're essentially all remolds, essentially, or simple or whatever. Cheap enough to take that gamble. Yeah, I'd take that gamble. But then, like, to see none of it pay out and pay through, like, that would keep me from, like, giving two shits what the quote unquote consumer wants. But that's the issue nowadays. The issue with the internet is, you got oh, well, this doesn't fit my narrative, but I want it to fit my narrative, even though I'm not gonna buy anything like that. It was probably some SJW sitting in her college dorm that doesn't give two flying shits about Power Rangers. That's just like, this is wrong. We need to change this. America's
I'm triggered.
Same thing with where's Ray? Because like one soccer mom couldn't find a Ray figure for her daughter like 2 years ago. Started this whole "Where's Ray" hashtag, and then I saw like a couple people pick up on it. But I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Because I'm like seeing like 3 or 4 of them in each store that I go in. And so what do? They come out and give you a Ray figure and like 2 more waves. To where they gave you another Ray figure a little bit later on. Then they had a Target exclusive Ray figure. Then they gave you Ray again in Rogue One.
I live.
And then now here's all these Rays, and it's like, okay, you guys, you all like thousands of people said that you wanted them, just like the 50,000 signatures on Facebook for female Power Rangers. Like you said, you wanted them, and by the numbers, man, we are gonna sell these out. Like we could probably come out with Ray like a 6th or 7th time. No, they're just sitting on the shelves.
When it comes to Star Wars Black Inch, I feel like I live in the land of milk and honey, which sucks because I don't buy Star Wars 6-inch black line. But yeah, even like there's even some stores around here that just have a wall of Ray. But like they still had plenty of Rays before all that too.
Yeah, like I said, I could find like a couple of them in every store that I went into. And that's why whenever I heard that, I'm like, what are they talking about?
And that was around Christmas time. I should have hit that lady up and be like, what's it worth to you?
And if you want it, you can go out and find it. So like we were talking, I was telling Rick earlier, I was like, my 3-year-old nephew, like last Christmas, I bought him some of those Imagine X little Star Wars figures, and they're expensive too, like $10 for 2 of them, and they're real small. I was like, dude, I was looking on Amazon. I can buy that Target or that or whatever it was, Kmart exclusive Rey with base and all her weapons and stuff for like $6 shipped. You know, I was like, and it's 6-inch Black Series. I'm like, I'll just tell her, you know, just keep the lightsabers, stuff that he can swallow away from him if he still does that. And there's a 6-inch Black Series figure for cheaper than what I could do but get him color in too. He's gonna have the bases and everything, man. So I mean, that's one thing on that. You know, I think it's by brand, because you look at Star Wars, we were kind of talking earlier, like Captain Phasma, everybody wanted Captain Phasma because, one, if you didn't know anything about the movie from Force Awakens, all you really saw was, hey, it's like a taller stormtrooper and it's silver, it stands out, it's got a cape, it looks awesome, you know, to where if you didn't watch the movie, I mean, that could have been a male or a female, you know, you don't know. It just happens to be, and its name is Captain Phasma, which is a cool sounding name. So that's going to cater to guys, girls, whatever. But then you, like in Star Wars, you know, we like our female characters, and we like good, strong female characters. So like Leia was, if you ask me and Rick, who are one of our top 4 favorite Star Wars characters, it's Ahsoka. You know, I'm still waiting for a Ventress, you know, Hera, that figure's fantastic. I bought 2 Sabines, you know, so in Star Wars, like I like the males and the females, you know, because they're all good, well-written characters. Transformers, I think it's one of those things to where we didn't get female characters or toys, you know, back in the day until, you know, Beast Wars started coming out with them. But G1, we didn't get them. So now, you know, it's, you know, we're excited about it. The He-Man and Princess of Power, you know, He-Man was Sorceress and Tila like huge sellers. I remember having like Evelyn and Tila. I don't think I had a Sorceress, but like I was never like, oh man, I really need to get a Sorceress. You know, even as much as she was used in the show, I was like, oh, here's a Whiplash and a Web Store. I'm like, oh, give me those. You know.
She came out later in the line. I would have wanted her if she came out like early, but Evelyn and Tila came out pretty early. But I definitely had both of them, and I was into those characters. But again, it goes back to the, you know, the fiction. He-Man's, it wasn't necessary. Sometimes it's you know, the fiction can be a little bit lighter, but you know, when you're looking at toys and stuff, you want those characters to round out your team. Power Rangers is a different. They have different colors and helmets sometimes and markings, but that's really it. I mean, they aren't, you know, they're kind of like troop builders.
It's not like you know, G.I. Joe, where you've got like Scarlet and Lady J,
yeah,
and you know, and Baroness, where they're different. They're very individual characters. Like those, like I'm still looking for a Lady J for a decent price. But like it's, you know, it's stuff like that. Like if it's a good character, if it's got at least some kind of decent current-ish sort of fiction to it, or just a mythos in general, you know, it'll sell well.
Well, it was a Mel and the Force Awakens Wave 1 line, Constable Zuvio. You can still find that guy in stores. Like he was one that I picked up, and I was like, Rick, was this guy even in the movie? I'm still looking for him. I can't find him, you know? So
I found him one day. I'll have to tell you. I'll have to give you the timestamp on what that blurred thing right there. That's it. Yeah.
So you know, I think it is a, you know, a case by case basis. One of the things that you know, and then you could wrap up on the subject is, you know, talking about you know, because I think it's one of the big, you know, I guess talking points of this conversation is the Facebook 50,000 signatures, or, you know, of like, no, we want the female characters that they did like a few years ago. Can you imagine if that was done today, like how many more signatures they would have got? I mean, we were just talking like 3 or 4 years ago, this was the 50,000 signatures. Today, man, that sucker would have been a lot more. And this goes back to, you know, those people, all those people, not even a quarter of them probably bought that figure. And we mentioned this before for a third-party company. because they were like, what do you like more? Do you like this face sculpt or this one? And people were like helping the designers. Oh, you do this, or we like this one better. I'm like, the only way I would do that is if I'm like, here, lock in your you want it, lock in your pre-order. Because I want to ask the people that are actually buying the figure. That's whose opinion I care about. I don't care about the people that are just like want to be, armchair designers, and just sitting there like, oh, you should do it this way, you should do it that way. Just sitting from their recliner and not even planning on buying the figure. Like, pre-order it, you'll get a code or whatever, however you want to do it, and then here you go. You get an invitation to go to this private Facebook chat, and we can design this thing together. And kind of majority rules on that. Like, to me, that's what you ideally want. But they were just kind of asking everybody, and people will comment on their Facebook page.
That's never a good thing.
Yeah.
Because then, like, it'd be someone like me, I'm I'm guessing you're talking about like Fans Toys Stomp, or not Fans Toys, Gigapower, their Dinobot. Yeah, like I'd be like, well, this looks better, but I'm not gonna buy it. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. I think this looks better, but I'm not gonna buy it. Like,
don't count on me for $200 though.
Exactly. Like, and that's but it's hard to really get that. That kind of security, and okay, this is how many people are going to buy this, or not, and it's just hard to tell. But it's like that's why I just think it's dumb. But on the flip side of that coin, man, if you don't follow through with it, if you don't do what just these 50,000 people are asking for, supposedly, then you're gonna get lynched in the middle of time, the freaking Main Street. For not doing it.
That's what I don't like is like, are you buying the figure? I want to know from people, like, do you really want this? Because we'll do it if enough people want it. I don't need you telling everybody to go give a signature on some type of petition. I need people that are actually going to buy it, because I need to make it worth it for investors, in the stock, and for us as well, because we are a business. We're trying to make money, selling toys. If you're not going to buy it, don't even comment. But people now, they want to attack the political side of it versus, are you actually going to buy this toy if we make it? The answer is no.
And that's another thing. People people in general think that, oh, I have a voice that has to be heard. Like, everyone needs to know what's on my mind. And like, no, you're wrong. Like, not everyone gives a shit what I think, and I'm okay with that. I can sleep peacefully at night knowing that I didn't have to weigh in on certain things because they didn't affect me. But you've got this new kind of social atmosphere where you've got to do that, and that's just the norm, and it's weird.
Did anyone else have anything else on that, or y'all want to move on to the next one?
Moving along, nothing to see here.
All right. So this one is for kind of talking about third-party masterpiece scale Transformers. Do you buy placeholders for your collection? If so, why? If no, then why do you think others do it? That last part's mainly for me, because I'm really curious, like, why do people do it? Because I've seen in boards and forums and groups and stuff like that, or even in the chat where people have been watching Cybercast, they're like, I'm pretty sure that there'll be an official release of this, in a year or two, but I really like that third party, so I'm going to buy that, to put on the shelf until the official gets released. I'm like, if you already know you're going to sell it, like, you just really needed your collection 2 years earlier, like, you already know, like, you're committed to selling it because you're going to buy the official. So it's basically just a placeholder. I saw TF Source did like an article about this, and I don't understand it. But maybe you guys do it. Maybe you can explain it. Okay.
Pretty good idea about it. So again, it goes back to social media, right? Like, we're such a show me, let me show you kind of like thing, right? With Transformers. But to go back to the original question, I think everything is a placeholder in some regard. Like maybe not necessarily everything, but a majority of stuff is a placeholder. Like, you know, I'm noticing that I'm slowly but surely taking old figures, official or third party, for either a newer official or a newer third party, out of certain displays of mine because something better came along. Even though I either A, didn't think there would be anything better or that they could do anything better, but I seem to kind of like feel that a lot of things are placeholders. Like, you know, nothing's concrete and permanent on any given shelf.
I'm talking about, but going into it beforehand, saying
going
this is
into
going to
it?
be a placeholder.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying is like they're going into it like I'm buying this for a placeholder, even though I know that, you know, the real deal or something better is going to come. It would be like, you know, because I'm sure that Rick, you know, he's got his hot toys, and some of them they used to show their elbows and stuff like that. You know, they looked great, but they don't look as good as now with that skin going over. Like it wasn't like he knew that was going to happen. To where it was like,
right. Okay,
so,
I get it. Then I think it's mostly like a social media thing. Like, you know, who can be the first to post that full Masterpiece 84 cast? Who can be that first to have all of the 86, the movie guys or whatever? It's hey, look what I've got sort of thing.
See, for me, it doesn't have anything to do with that, but I absolutely can see where you could get that from, because I think that's true for some people, but I don't think it's as black and white as that. I just want to go backwards on third party. So I don't remember the first one. I'm just going to give a few examples. That City Commander armor to make your Ultra Magnus more Ultra Magnus-y from Fans Project.
Ultra Magnus-y.
Yeah. And then also the Fans Project, the Bruticus add-ons to make Bruticus into a big, you know, more Bruticus-y big guy. Those were the two I remember, like the first. And for me, it was about so it started out as kind of improving something that already existed. And from there, it got into, here are these new companies, Fans Project, like I said, that started there. Whether it was Mastermind or Make Toys or whatever, then it started to be more about like almost like the experience with that toy. Like, wow, this is really cool that this unofficial company is engineering these toys, and it became more about which ones were good and which ones were bad, and the experience with that toy from this strange company that's not official that I couldn't buy in the store. Then so that's the other phase of it. I started to figure out which ones I like. And at some point where it was always about the placeholder or improving with a kit, at some point, and I think this was Mastermind Creations, at some point I found out that this is now paralleling the main line for me. It's not necessarily a placeholder in every situation. There are figures that I think do it better than official now, and it's taken a long time to get to that point. And there's some cases though where it's true. That's why it's still a case to case for me. Like the downbeat I feel like is a placeholder, because when it comes to the mainline, your originals that you remember from the cartoons, up there with Prime and Bumblebee. So you know, and we don't know exactly when. I mean, no one can say 100% that we're going to get it. We assume we're going to get it. We have strong opinions about it. But so that one's a placeholder for me. If we could get an official jazz, I'd be like the first one. I would be the Dakota buying 3 of them stuff. I would probably buy 3 jazzes. But so for me, it's not so black and white. It's very gray area. When I got like the cross dimension, so when it goes into this other territory that's like the design has been kind of put on speed, or there's just something slightly different about the designs of these characters that, you know, that added to that parallel where, you know, for me, Mastermind Creations and Hasbro, they're paralleling each other. I can collect both of them simultaneously, and it has nothing to do with one standing in for something that they're not giving me, and to the fact that they're even the comic book. So I don't think it's as black and white as like them, but I absolutely think that, you know, there's that, if you're a YouTube reviewer, and you have an Instagram account that you like to, you know, post pics to, I think that like it's the first come, first serve, hit it while it's hot. That's definitely there. And for me too, I don't think I've sold any. So I haven't sold any of my third party stuff. I have thrown one in the trash, however, but I have not sold any of my stuff.
You got a couple of comments real quick. Matthew Hart, he says, only buy third-party masterpiece figures if it doesn't look like Hasbro Dakar are going to make one. For example, all triple changers. And then Matty the Dentist, he says, I never look at third-party stuff as placeholders. I just buy things that are cool and good. That's kind of like me. I just, if it looks cool.
I kind of recently went through this. You know, we saw Calidus and Hot Flame. They were both kind of teased the exact same time. And as soon as I saw Hot Flame, I was like, I really want that. Calidus just so happened to be out first. I've been so desperate for a More Than Meets the Eye Rodimus on my Lost Light shelf that has been without its captains up until this year. I bought the Calidus. I was like, let's do this. Let me put this on the shelf until Hot Flame comes out. I knew whenever Hot Flame was coming out, I was going to get rid of Calidus. But a lot of that, I knew I was going to get what I paid for Calidus back out of it. And it was just a temporary itch. And it's just being able to go and look at my Lost Light display and see, you know, the main characters, so to speak. They're all there and they're represented in some way. You know, I think that has a lot to do with it too.
I'm a little bit in the gray area. I've done well. I got into the third party because of Megatron. The first MP Megatron that we had, the skeleton one, was horrible. And then when Apollyon came out, that was like, yeah, I gotta have that. And at that time, I didn't believe that we were gonna get an actual official Megatron because of the gun thing. And then later on, I came up with Sun Surge, where it's been a while since the Masterpiece line was out. I didn't think we were going to get a Sunstreaker for a long time. And sure enough, we're finally getting one next year. But these placeholders have also become permanent for me as well. Like, I'm not getting rid of Apollyon. I'm not getting rid of Mitron. I'm not getting rid of Sun Surge. They've grown on me. I like them. I like their aesthetics. I like their design. And even though I have an MP36 and I have a Sunstreaker official on pre-order, they're not going to mean that I'm going to sell or get rid of or trash the placeholders.
Okay, so yeah, you gained a fondness for I guess the figures. So they're basically like cool figures for you then.
Right, but they sort of started out as placeholders, but they've changed for me, and that's another thing too, is there's no guarantee that the official, like you mentioned, it could be not as good. I might not like it. I might like the third party more. The Fans Toys Sovereign, I don't think it'll ever replace that. I don't care what Takara does. That thing is perfect. You know, the Dinobots. I don't think Takara will ever make the Dinobots, but those Fans Toys Dinobots, fantastic.
They're nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, I know you don't collect third-party stuff, but what do you think about the topic?
Even in my regular Transformers, I don't do placeholders. It's like, I do have 3 Masterpiece figures. 2 of them were Primals, but I didn't get one just to get rid of the other one. You know, I kept both of them. I just think, in a lot of ways, on third party, if you're getting stuff to fill a hole until the official comes out, then you're kind of not doing the system no good by funding these people who make third-party toys richer to keep doing more stuff when you're just turning around and flipping it. So, because we got all these issues with unofficially, and then all these lawsuits and all these people saying they're not supposed to be selling them. I just think you're just feeding the devil in the long run for no reason. I do not agree with third party, period. I never have.
I'm still
Third party's
confused
the
on,
devil.
I'm just confused on why that people still will pay retail or buy a third party figure when it first comes out, or even pre-order it. Like, why are you paying full price for it? Because that people are doing this placeholder thing, and that there are a lot of people that do reviews just to buy the figures, do the review, and then sell the figure so that they can buy another figure, review it, and then to sell it. Like, I've never done stuff like that. Just buy something to review it and then get rid of it.
I think a lot of people do it because they want to be the first one.
So they want to be like, and that's really as much stuff as they come out with. That's really the only way I guess you could afford it. So I'm not saying anything bad about it. Like, if that's the way that you want to do it, then you do it that way. I'm not saying anything negative about that. I'm saying that because that they do it, why, as you a consumer, just be like, I'm not, this just third party figure, I really want it, it just came out, but I'm not going to pay for it at retail at BBTS or TF Source or HLJ, somewhat, where I don't even know if HLJ does third party, but I'm not going to pay retail for it. What I'll do is, I just saw like a bunch of YouTubers just got it, did a review on it. I know that I just need to contact them. A lot of them have Facebook page, or they got their YouTube, like, hey, are you hanging on to this figure, or are you selling it? And I guarantee you at least half of them are be like, I'm selling it,
Right.
Or you can check eBay, and it's not going to be what it was going for at retail. They're going to have to discount it, because anytime that I bought some third party stuff, and I didn't buy it to sell, I bought it to keep it, but then I just got out of third party stuff. And so I was like, all right, so let me sell this stuff off. I think there was only one item that I ever sold that I got more than what I paid for it. It was whenever Fans Toys Quake Wave, before they were coming out with reissues, that I was able to sell it for a lot more. Everything else I've taken losses on.
Mm-hmm. You see, and third party, I've always said this, is that it is like a brand new car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, you've lost half the value on third party. Now, you got to admit, in a lot of certain Transformer characters, certain lines, collector club items, they hold value where third party doesn't. And going back to the YouTube reviewers, we know a certain YouTube reviewer, he does that. And now, granted, he usually doesn't sell his, he gives his away, because maybe he doesn't want to mess with the headache of trying to collect any money off of it, or where the case may be. But for me, I don't even think I have any third parties. I don't think I even have any more at all. There's some that look cool that we may never ever see in a main line from Hasbro. Me as a consumer, I do not like putting my money towards third party.
I only have one third party thing left, and it is the Fans Project armor. And I have the Magnus. I'm just trying to, I've got the box and instructions, everything 100% complete. I'm just trying to get $100 shipped for it. And I paid,
that's never going to happen.
I paid 100 and what was it? Like 140, 150 at the time for just the armor. And then the Magnus figure itself, it's about $30-$35 or something like that, or forget exactly.
See, the thing is, a lot of that, like that's classic scale, and then MP was a big thing, so they did the Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, so now no one gives a crap about the City Commander, and then they did Combiner Wars, which was a proper Ultra Magnus, and that pretty much made the Fans Project set, in my opinion, irrelevant.
It still looks cool. It
does. It does. I don't want to take that away from it, but it's just with a definitely cheaper option out there or a bigger masterpiece option out there, it's just probably not going to happen.
Another thing.
Go ahead.
Another thing is, third party is killing Takara. They're coming out with a whole lot more products. There are a lot more figures out there that are coming out compared to what Takara is putting out. And they're just overwhelming Takara. Whether Takara has the resources or not, or the funding, I don't know. But third party can focus on masterpiece figures a lot more than Takara can, apparently. And things like, like the most recent release, Fans Toys Coot, that thing is sold out everywhere. And I've resisted the urge to buy it because I feel down the road there will be something better. But people don't feel that way. They feel that, hey, Coot's cup is out, MP cup. It'll take forever for Takara to get to that character. So that's why they're probably snatching him up like crazy. And that's part of the reason that people gravitate toward 3P.
And it's such a point of
go ahead, Rick.
It's such a point of view thing too, like especially just us here talking. Like, for Mike, he never really bit into the third party. It's something that didn't interest him. And then you got even talking about to the point where like if you're going to sell it, that's important for his collecting, for his habits. And someone like me, now that I have tested and collected the third-party stuff has it been a decade? It feels like it's been forever, but so I have memories with the product now. Just like we have memories with like G1 or Beast Wars, I have memories with that City Commander armor where I wouldn't sell it now. It has become a part of my collection and this phase of, I'm someone who's interested in just toys, collectibles, and now that I'm getting older, like the history of it, the now, what's coming up, all that stuff is interesting to me. So for me, like this third-party thing that ended up happening, and at the beginning, some of those early toys, there's some that I'm always going to keep in my collection now because it's become part of the hobby because I've had such a life experience with these things.
Oh yeah, same here. I'm with you on that.
Well, on the Fans Toys Coot, and even Matthew Hart says, I can't find KFC Ditka anywhere for under retail from anyone. There's a couple main things that you look for. Like sometimes like you can find it a couple weeks, or you just contact the YouTubers, like, hey, are you going to keep this? You plan on selling it? Most of them, they'll answer, look through the comments because they'll usually answer the first person. But kind of like me, when people keep on asking me the same question, I'm just like, look, you can see in the comments, dude. I've answered this like twice already. You can find the answer if you just look for it. But on most cases, the times that you'll see, you'll be able to find Fans Toys Coot or their cup go for cheaper than what it was at retail and see multiples of them up for sale is when either, which might take a while, Takara Masterpiece Cup comes out, or one that looks maybe even better or similar as a third-party cup. If it just looks similar, there'll be some people that will, I'm going to sell this one now and I'm going to go buy that one. And then you'll start to see them. So whenever there's another one that kind of steps up, just another cup, and I'm sure that'll happen soon. I think there's a couple of different cups out there that eventually you'll have even people like, Primal Sabbath. If there's another cup that comes out within just another couple of months, there's people that probably placeholdered Fans Toys Cup because they actually like this other cup better. And because I think there's a Toy World one as well. There's probably going to be another one to where even though it was just for a little bit, he did the whole placeholder thing with Calidus and then ended up wanting to get, what was it? Hot Boy? Hot Flame. Hot Boy.
Hot Boy.
Sound like a boy band.
Yeah,
See,
it varies. I feel like it varies.
The third party deal, I mean, it's like there can't just be one. It's like there's so damn many companies, and then there's so many like this. Like I always hark on this is those damn Springers, Sea Sprays. It's like everybody and their brother did one. Dinobots, Constructibots, Minosaur, Bruticus. I mean, that's where I got, and I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I am so sick of this because you can never thinking you have the best one out there when there's 5 other companies putting one out, thinking they're the best one out there. It's a never ending battle. They're all going to put each other out of business when it's all said and done. Maybe not in the next 5, 10 years, maybe. I don't know. I don't think it'll be around 10 more years.
Well, I think it's more the retailers are going to shut down on it more, especially if they're, told by like, Hasbro or so, that, like stop selling this or we're going to stop distributing or something like that. But also the fact that I was looking yesterday because they were like, hey, we started our Black Friday sale early with this one website. And I was like, all right, let me go check out their stuff, see if they got any masterpiece. Of course, no official masterpiece. They had a bunch of third-party stuff. Remember TFC Predator King, where each figure was over $100? You can get the set of 5. I think it was for like $139.
They can't give that crap away now. They have
the price that they charge for like just Razor Claw alone. You buy Razor Claw, you get the other 4 members free.
Yeah,
dude, I'm tempted. Like, I'm super tempted to do that because that MMC Predator King is beautiful.
No, it's not the MMC Predator King. It's the TFC.
Oh, it's the TFC. Oh, okay. Well, even still, like that's still pretty big and impressive.
The Mastermind Creation one, that one's gone on sale too.
Yeah, I know the MMC went on sale, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I really want to see what Hasbro's look like. We saw the wing pack for the Hasbro one basically back at New York Comic-Con. So, I kind of want to see what that will look like. And if it doesn't look good, then I have no problem shelling out the extra $50-$60 or whatever just to go TFC or MMC.
That's that's what it's gotten around to.
Dakota. Don't do TFC.
Well, no. I've had TFC Hercules. Like I know how terrible their combined ports and everything are. But like like when I say MMC or TFC, just know that I only threw TFC out there because I feel like they're doing good with their Road Caesar, and I want them to get some recognition. But I know that everything else they put out is trash. So,
well, I mean that goes back to when they were coming out with all these combiners. I was one of those people too that like every time they come out with a limb, every like month and a half or whatever it was, like it was $100 or $110, somewhere around that range. And I was like, okay, now I got to get 5. Like you're spending, and then there's like some like a little accessory pack too, which is like $50. You end up spending $550 to $600 for these combiners. To where you look a year 2 later, now they're like, if you buy 1 figure, we'll give you the other 4 free. Like just like and full full combiners, $200 from these third-party ones. Like they just couldn't even get rid of their original stock. So, and that's not even on the secondary market like eBay or anything like that, or buy sell trade forums. That's the online retailers.
You also got to look at what Official is doing to combat that. Like Combiner Wars happened, and who wants to pay $300 for a Minosaur when even though the Hasbro one looks like ass, they can pay, like $70-$80 for it and then pay another $40 for a Perfect Effect upgrade kit. You know what I mean? Like that just makes the most sense.
I mean, this company, they're like one of the things they had on sale was one of those Toy World. Do you remember when Toy World did the throttle bots?
Yeah.
And apparently they're supposed to combine or something. I think they combined it as well. Like they had a few of those, and they're like trying to sell those for like $20-$30 a piece. To where at one point when they first came out, man, they were selling hot. And then when you looked on the secondary market, people were selling them for more. Well, now, dude, they can't give them away. And so a lot of these Transformer, whenever Black Friday and stuff like that, like I said, I went, hey, can I get me several masterpiece figures for really, cheap? I was just like looking for, because I think they're $140, the Inferno mold. I was like, well, I need all 3 of them. If I could get them each for like maybe like $110 a piece or something like that, just take $30 off, man, I'll buy all 3 of them right now. And I was just looking for some kind of deal like that, and no official masterpiece at all. It was just all third-party stuff.
Well, you can get Sunsurge for $54.99 at BBTS. I'm sorry, Spin Out. That's the greatest figure ever made.
That's Omnigonics, right?
Yeah,
I thought that one looked pretty decent.
I like the way it looks. Just will it hold together?
Do you guys want any more on that topic? I mean, are we just basically going to do two topics, two long topics? That was almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're at
Sounds
the
good.
90-minute mark.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that means that we've got a ton more topics for next time. Oh, go ahead,
Okay,
Dalton.
I honestly didn't realize that my microphone was muted, so because my screen like went over on my phone. Anyways, putting in my 2 cents on it. You know, I don't really like the whole placeholding thing for Masterpiece. I mean, if you see that there's multiple versions of it in a single year from a third party, just wait and save the money. I mean, because you know it's a sure sign that the car is going to do it. Whether you like Takara or not, it's usually going to be better. I mean, look at perfect example. Look at Megatron. I mean, it's probably one of the most show accurate versions of Megatron, and I've seen so many sales of Apollyon, Mitron, whatever the other one was.
Despotron.
Yeah, Despotron, whatever. I mean,
Hegemon.
same with Shockwave. I mean, you know, a lot of these companies, you know, the Cloud9, they dropped theirs down to what, like $80 just to compete with Takara's and Fans Toys. I mean, the only way I can see that is kind of like with the Chug stuff, especially when it comes to design aesthetic, like the IDW stuff. Hasbro's not going to fully release a lot of those characters. I mean, like right now, I bought Dakota's Calidus. I'm going to be getting the Hot Flame in both regular and Lost Light colors, but I'm going to hang on to Calidus because it is a fun figure.
Matty the dentist brings up a good point. He goes, "I'd love to know what these toy sellers like BBTS, etc., are actually paying for these third-party things and what the markup is." You got to think it's probably at least half. So, like, if they're selling something for 120, they probably paid 50.
The way I understand it for third party, it's definitely different. They don't, the profit margin percentage wise on third party is not like what it is from official.
Okay.
Like regular official, it's almost like double.
No, official is you're barely making any money off official. I have my account, and you don't make nowhere nothing.
Look at the volume. Look at the volume though, Mike. Like, you know, not to knock you at all because like you're my Hasbro guy. You know what I mean? Like I go through you to get all of my Hasbro Transformers. But whenever you order just a couple of cases, that discount isn't prevalent. But when you have a direct line to Hasbro and you go through someone else, but like Big Bad and Entertainment Earth, like they have a direct supply line to Hasbro. So, you know, they're definitely going to be their profit margin is going to be better than yours.
I've seen like Walmart's in their register where it's like cost and stuff, and it's like 40%.
Right. That's about right. For a 40% markup is about typical.
Like basically, like if they're selling for 14, they probably pay 10 for it. Is generally what I see with like the bigger online, you know. So I don't know if that's like BBTS and them. They probably don't have as much, you know, markup in it, but that's what I've seen from like bigger retailers like Walmart and such. All right, let's go ahead and end it there because we went about an hour and a half, and you know, we'll have another Sabbathcast and Galactic Gumbo in a couple weeks. But Dakota, go ahead and tell people where they can find you, man.
Well, you can find me everywhere at PrimalSabbath.
Lil D.
I'm everywhere. You can find me at everywhere at Daltonian TFs.
All right, Mike.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram as Just Another G.I. Joe Show.
All right, and Rick.
And you can find me on Twitter as Shatrdglassjazz.
Sportimus.
And you can find me on YouTube as Sportimus and on Facebook and Twitter as Sportimus Prime.
All right, and you can find me, G1Xtron, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook pages, the G1Xtron. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we will talk to you guys later. Peace.